My family labeled me a failure at Dad's birthday, then I exposed their hidden debts. The laughter echoed off the polished walls of the mansion, filling the air like a mocking chorus, each joke a sharpened barb aimed at my heart. "Look at our superstar," my brother sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. I stood there, caught in the spotlight, paralyzed by the weight of their expectations, turned derision. I used to revel in this celebration, feel buoyed by the adoration of my family. Now it was a parade of disappointments. They all wore smiles, but to me, they felt like daggers, puncturing the facade of joy. This place, adorned with glitz and glamour, felt like a prison. I could see the cracks in the marble floors, the stains on the silk curtains. It was all a cover for the decay beneath. Afraid to speak, I clenched my fists, the tension bubbling under my skin. Everything they said, every laugh that rippled through the room, whispered of my failures. The pressure built inside me like a ticking bomb. I could almost hear the clock counting down. Their secrets sat heavy in the air, secrets that I had painstakingly pieced together. Deep down, I knew about the debts looming over our family, the shady dealings propping up our glittering image. They thought me weak, but I had spent countless nights gathering evidence, fabricating my own liberation. My heart raced, each thump echoing my resolve. I could expose them. Then it happened. My brother's laughter sliced through the veil of my torment. "Look at you, still stuck in the past, waiting for a miracle." His words struck hard, igniting a cold fire in my chest. In that moment, everything shifted. Their scorn had turned from a simple sting to a simmering fury, a hunger for vengeance. Awakened, I glanced around at their faces. The cheers and laughter that should have warmed my heart only fueled the anger coursing through me. I was no longer just standing here. I was plotting my return. I could tear it all down. Exposing their lies wouldn't just free me from their shame. It would serve a reckoning. Would it destroy what remained of our family? A chill gripped me. What if revealing their secrets only plunged them into a despair they could never escape? The tension wrapped around me, tightening like a noose. Yet the urge to break free surged, overpowering my fear. I thought about those years of being the golden child, the expectations, the pressure, the constant comparison. Those masks they wore did nothing to hide the truth. The anger twisted inside me, clashing with guilt. Was it revenge I wanted, or simply liberation? They expected me to remain trapped under their judgments, but I was ready to rewrite my story. As I scanned the room, my heart raced with the weight of my choice. Behind me, the laughter continued, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. In one breath, I could break the shackles of their mockery or plunge us all into chaos. The night stretched on, each tick of the clock a reminder of the storm brewing within. The choice loomed over me, a shadow lingering just out of reach. Would I take that daring step into the unknown? Could I truly risk it all for my freedom, even if it meant shattering the fragile bonds of family? Hey, before we continue with this story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss out on any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're there, leave that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. And hey, if you like being the first to know and don't want to miss a thing, I have something special for you. You can join our premium story group where you get early access to all videos, exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, and the chance to watch everything without ads. It's like having a VIP pass to the most intense and emotional stories before anyone else sees them. To join, just head down to the comments, click the special link, follow the steps, and start enjoying all the exclusive stuff. Don't wait too long. Spots are limited, and this is the best way to really dive deep into the stories you love. I stood in that over-the-top mansion, with glitz flickering all around me, heart in my throat. Their laughter felt like a funeral dirge for my self-worth. I was ready to burst, ready to scream, to unleash everything I had been holding back. I was done feeling like a failure among them. I was a volcano waiting to erupt. But just as I took a breath to gather my courage, a new sound broke through the chorus of mockery, my mother's voice. "There he is, my sweet boy," she cooed, embracing my brother, her golden child. Her smile was all teeth, like a shark. "We've been waiting for you to have your moment. Maybe next year, buddy." Next year? I was already shaking, fire coursing through my veins. I watched her and felt something inside me snap. Then, chaos erupted. My sister's phone chimed, and she stood frozen, face twisting in shock. The laughter died, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. "Wait, what?" It fell from her lips like a boulder rolling down a hill, gathering speed. She shook her head, disbelief written on her face. "No way. You can't be serious." The whole room turned, eyes on her like a spotlight. Then she held up her phone, screen shining bright. The headline read, "Local business tycoon's family buried in debt." Pictures of my family, all of them, flashed across the screen, alongside slanderous claims of fraud and shady dealings. My heart dropped. I thought I was the only one hiding secrets. The bank leaks, the shadowy investments, they were all out there now. "What the hell, Tassie?" my brother snapped as. Panic spread through the room like wildfire, but the real twist surged through me. I knew about all these debts before tonight. I'd pieced those stories together years ago, but I had held back. I wanted to expose them, yes, but not like this. I never thought the truth would explode out of my own sister's hands. "Stop," I shouted. But the words were drowned by the rising tide of whispers. "You don't understand." "Understand what?" Cassie shot back, her eyes wild and searching. "That we've been drowning while you play the victim?" The room felt like it was tilting sideways. My heart raced. Betrayal hung thick in the air. Everything I had built up to take on my family, to stand tall against their taunts, it crumbled with those damn headlines. The truth I wanted to expose, it was a double-edged sword. Then, my mother, eyes wide, took a step back. "You knew?" she gasped, horror dawning on her face, the loving mask shattered. "What have you done?" No one spoke. Silence seeped into the room, twisting around us, tighter and tighter. I could almost hear the clock ticking, but this time it wasn't my countdown. It was theirs. My brother laughed, but it was a cruel sound, low and shaking. "Are you really going to stand there and pretend you're innocent in all this? You've always been the favorite. You thought you could play games with us?" Each word cut deeper. I felt the walls closing in. Was my brother right? Was I responsible for this chaos, this family unraveling? The tension hit a breaking point. Shadows filled the hall as more people, guests, began to whisper, casting their judgmental eyes upon us. I knew there was something off about this family. One of them muttered. Betrayal pulsed in my veins, burning hotter than ever. My heart raced with dread, realizing I was the scapegoat. The spotlight was mine, but it only revealed other sins. Were they all in it together? My head swirled. As the air grew heavy with shock, it all fell apart. The familiar faces around me twisted into something unrecognizable. The weight of their expectations slammed me down, suffocating. "You don't know what's coming," I heard myself whisper, already feeling the darkness creep in. What did I just unleash? As I stood there, frozen and raw, left with the jagged pieces of our family's secrets, I realized that this was just the beginning. A storm was brewing. Family's image was crumbling, and the truth I'd longed to unleash had twisted into a weapon I never intended to wield. As silence fell like a heavy curtain, I felt the cold sweat bead on my forehead. The guests' eyes danced between my sister and me, curiosity morphing into judgment. Then Cassie's phone buzzed again, pulling me back into the chaos. She stepped forward, eyes wide, scrolling through the fresh flood of notifications. "Holy," she gasped, her voice shaking. I knew it wasn't just the headlines anymore. It was the comments rolling in like waves on a stormy shore. Everyone was reading, dissecting, sharing. I stumbled back, my heart thumping violently against my ribcage. This was bad, beyond bad. Cassie, stop, just put it down. I lunged forward, desperate to shield us from the scrutiny. But she held it high, exposing the truth more nakedly than I could ever have imagined. The words on the screen weren't just a blow to our family, they were a bat over my skull. "Look," she screamed. "They're saying Dad's deals are tied to mob connections, like he's been laundering money this whole time." The room erupted again. Gasps mixed with murmurs of disbelief floated over heads, igniting a wildfire of suspicion. Everyone knew Dad was shady, but this? My breath caught. My eyes swung around the room. Faces turned against me like a pack of wolves. What did they think? That I was somehow in on it? That I had used their misfortune to propel my own twisted agenda? I could feel them calculating, judging. This was supposed to be my moment, a showdown against their mockery, but it was spiraling out of my control. "Wow," my brother sneered, venom dripping from his words. "Look who's in the spotlight now. Always playing the victim. And yet, you've kept secrets of your own, haven't you?" His eyes sparkled with something dark, something accusatory. It sent a shiver down my spine. Did he know something? "Shut up," I hissed, panic clawing its way up my throat. The air crackled with tension, thick and suffocating. I had spent all these years focusing on their lies, ignoring my own. Was that why he was turning it on me now? Was this how my family turned against one another, insisting I was just as guilty? And just like that, I felt another shift, another reality crashing down. What if Cassie hadn't shared that headline at all? What if it was some elaborate trap? The thought twisted my gut-wrenching. Had she known more than she let on? "Don't you dare," I shot back. But inside, I was terrified. Had she set me up for this? The very sister I confided in? Whom I thought was on my side. "What's the matter, brother?" Cassie's eyes narrowed. Afraid of the truth. In that moment, I felt the ground give way beneath me. It was as if I'd stepped onto ice and it shattered. They all turned on me like a pack of ravenous dogs, their faces twisted with disdain and pity rolled into one. I was no longer their brother, but a pariah. "Why don't we talk about your college debts?" Cassie continued, venom leaking from every word. "You thought we didn't know about the loans you've been hiding? You think your failures don't haunt us too?" The room exploded. Swirling accusations bounced around, crashing against my ears like a freight train. I could feel the heat on my face, a mix of rage and embarrassment. This wasn't just a family unraveling. It was a demolition of everything I believed. I backed away slowly, heart pounding, words failing me. How had everything spiraled? Was I really so naive? My foundations crumbled beneath me, and anger surged. I felt heat behind my eyes, the urge to scream, to lash out. They were turning against each other, revealing secrets more damaging than any headline. "Enough!" I yelled, but silence fell again, cold and eerie. Every gaze fixed on me, sharp and questioning. I had wanted to expose their wrongs, but now, who was I? In their frantic whispers, I suddenly saw it, my truth laid bare, and then, without a warning, the door slammed open. A figure stepped inside, an unfamiliar face, a stranger turned bare in this den of family chaos. The tension turned into silent dread. I felt my chest tighten. This wasn't over. "Is there a problem here?" the newcomer asked, voice low, like gravel dragging over stone. I could only stare. In that moment, everything froze. My heart raced. My mind spun. I realized the storm wasn't just brewing. It had arrived. What had I unleashed? What would this stranger reveal next? I had to run. But where? The figure in the doorway loomed larger than life. I felt my heart stumble. A stranger with a face I had never seen before slid into the storm. Panic surged through me, racing against the backdrop of whispered judgment, rising anger, and seething betrayal. I could barely breathe. Everyone's eyes, once sharp and accusing toward me and Cassie, now shifted to this unexpected presence. "Is there a problem here?" The voice was gravelly, like thunder rumbling before a downpour. "Who are you?" I croaked, but he merely scanned the room, assessing the chaos swirling around us. Cassie shrank back, her phone trembling in her grip. The headline still shone on the screen, but now it felt distant. "Surreal. You shouldn't be here," I snapped, fear clawing at my throat, twisting my words into venom. But the stranger didn't flinch. His eyes were cold and unyielding. "You need to understand something," he said, slowly stepping forward. "This family is tangled in a web much thicker than you think. It's not just about debts or lies, it's about survival." "Survival?" My brother scoffed, disbelief turning to disdain. "Who the hell are you to lecture us?" The stranger turned to him, his voice low and menacing. "You have no clue what you're dealing with." Shadows deepened in the room, like the dusk closing in. I felt the chill creep up my spine, dragging my previous bravado with it. I glanced at Cassie, her eyes wide, searching. Was she just as lost as I was? "Who sent you?" I demanded. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. "You really don't know?" And it struck me. A memory, a name floating to the surface, dark and twisted. It was my father's name, whispered in late-night conversations, locked behind doors. A name tied to people and debts and dangers I thought I'd escaped, until this very moment. "Get out," I said, but my voice faltered. What did I really want? The stranger took another step forward. The tension in the room was an electric shock. "You're more tied to this than you realize," he said, intensity sharpening his gaze. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a photograph, holding it close to my face. The image barely registered before my world tilted again. My eyes widened. "No way," I gasped. The photo showed my father, arms around two men whose faces were buried in shades and darkness. But I recognized them. Mobsters. "I was waiting for the right moment," he said, his tone sinister. "To show you who your family really is." A fist punched through my stomach. My knees felt weak. "You're lying," I barked, desperation seeping through. "Am I?" He shot back, eyes gleaming. "You've only seen the glamour. This is the foundation. No one's innocent here." All the laughter from moments ago faded, replaced by the weight of revelations and their consequences. I shook my head, as thoughts tumbled around like leaves caught in a whirlwind. What else had I missed? "Why are you doing this?" I asked, a whisper of fear creeping in. "Because someone needs to wake you up," he snapped. "You think this is just about debts? It goes deeper. People are going to prison, and your family is at the center." I could feel the stares on my back, the eyes that once knew me, now dripping with suspicion. My brother stepped closer, leaning in with hostility curling his lips. "What have you gotten us into, really? You've been lying too? More than us?" The room fractured, tension screeching like metal on metal. My mind raced and panic churned in my gut. My secret life, the loans, the pressure, I thought buried, was now surfacing alongside their darkness, dragging me into this boiling cauldron of betrayal and fear. But that's when it happened. The stranger's phone buzzed violently in his hand. His face paled. "No," he mumbled, staring at the screen, eyes widening. What's wrong?" I demanded, feeling the ground shake beneath me with dread. A slow, cruel smile crawled across his face, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Looks like I'm not the only one with skeletons," he said, voice chillingly calm. He turned the screen toward me, and I gasped again. Images flashed, my life, the moments I wanted to hide, the moments of failure. But there was something more. In the background of those photos, familiar figures lurked, twisted shadows of my family. They seemed to be tied to whispers of the same people in my father's photos. "See, it's all connected," he said, and in that moment, everything flipped. I was stripped bare, exposed beneath their judgment and this stranger's truth. "Run!" a thought screamed inside me, but I was frozen. My heart pounded against my ribs, suffocating me in this mess of tangled lies. As whispers grew louder, filling the space with dread, I felt my world crashing like glass breaking. The walls closed in, every breath turning sharp and painful. What had I unleashed? What did this mean? Never in my wildest nightmares did I think the truth would lead me into a darker labyrinth. The storm was just beginning, and I was at the center of it. Each step I took leading me deeper into a pit of uncertainty. What if I never escaped? What if this was all I'd ever known? I stood there, lost and trembling, desperate for answers that would never come. Everything shattered as that stranger stepped into my world, pulling the mask off my family. They had built a castle of lies, and now the walls around me were crumbling. I felt like I was losing my footing. Every breath was ragged, every heartbeat loud in my ears. "Get out!" I screamed again, voice trembling, but my plea went unanswered. His gaze pierced through me. "Stop, just stop." I could barely hear myself over the whispers swirling in the air. "You have no idea what you're talking about." I tried to sound fierce, but my voice cracked. People were staring now, wide-eyed and judgmental, ready to pounce. I was gasping for air, panic clawing at my insides. I could feel the weight of their thoughts, their doubts pressing down on me like a heavy blanket. Was this how it felt to be suffocated by your own family? Then, like a sudden clap of thunder, a voice rang out. "We don't need this guy telling us anything." It was my brother, stepping up, fists clenched, body tense. He looked ready to fight, every muscle taut. But instead of feeling safe, a fresh wave of dread washed over me. I could see the storm brewing in his eyes. "What do you know?" I shouted, but it came out weaker than I wished. The stranger didn't blink. "You want to know the truth? Then listen." He took a step closer, and suddenly the room felt colder, an electric tingle in the air. "You're not the only one hiding secrets. Your sister, Cassie, she's been talking to me." My stomach sank, ice cold spreading through my veins. "What? Cassie?" I turned, confusion gripping me like a vice. Cassie looked like she'd been struck, mouth agape. I searched her eyes for answers, but they only reflected confusion and betrayal. "She's been looking for information. She knows about the debts. All of it," the stranger continued, voice steady. "And she's been feeding it to people who want to see this family fall." "No," I shouted, heart racing. "What are you talking about?" For a moment, the air echoed with nothing but the tension and the heaviness of disbelief. Everyone held their breath, staring from me to Cassie, tension coiling tighter and tighter. But the damage was done. Cassie glanced at me, panic and anger mixed. I didn't mean for it to come out like this." "And what did you mean?" My voice dripped with venom now, the betrayal cutting deeper than I imagined. "Were you hoping to protect me or save yourself?" "Enough," my brother interjected, but I could see the cracks in his facade. "What kind of game are we playing here? Why would she talk to him?" Before Cassie could respond, the room erupted in chaos. "You didn't tell me you were snooping around like a rat," he growled, eyes narrowed. My sister flinched as my brother advanced on her. "Shut up," she screamed, desperate. "I was trying to protect you. I never thought it would come to this." "No one's protecting anyone," the stranger barked. "This is your family's last chance to come clean. Secrets will destroy you. You're all in the spotlight now. The walls are closing in." With a flash, Cassie's phone buzzed again, her eyes darting downward. I could see the terror etched into her face as she scooted back, nearly stumbling into a chair. The buzz turned into an angry chorus of notifications, each one digging deeper into a wound that was only just opening. "What is it?" I demanded, almost as if I didn't want to know. She raised her shaking hands, the screen lit up with fresh headlines. "Oh my God." I stepped closer, heart clenching. The words on the screen screamed betrayal louder than ever. Another angle of the story, showing our family connections to known criminals. They're saying everything about Dad is more than just shady. He's an associate. It's going viral. The whispers turned into a deafening roar, voices overlapping, accusations mixing with shock. How could you? How did this happen? Someone gasped. And then it hit me. The truths I'd fought to uncover weren't just about revenge. They were buried in a mess of betrayals. The secrets I thought would bring them down were sinking me into the depths. I could feel the judgmental eyes swirling around, my own reality tearing apart. Stop! This isn't fair! I howled, desperation clawing its way up my throat. You're all missing the point! But no one seemed to hear me. I had wanted to expose them, claim my place, make them acknowledge my pain. And now it was unraveling, twisting back to swallow me whole. The crowd stirred, murmurs growing louder. What else do we not know? Who can we trust? Does anyone know anything? They closing in on me, inching forward like a pack of wolves, hungry for the untouched flesh of old wounds. And then, out of the chaos, Cassie spoke again, voice small yet piercing. You don't even know the worst part yet. Before I could process her words, the stranger whipped out a folder, thick and well-worn, slamming it down on the table. You're more entangled than you realize. I have emails, schedules, proof, and it all leads back to you. My heart stuttered, confusion tearing through me like a freight train. What? What do you mean it leads back to me? Suddenly, every eye turned towards me. It felt like the air was sucked out, leaving me gasping. I could feel the heat rising, blood rushing to my face. Don't listen to him. It's lies. I tried to shout, but the truth started creeping in like a shadow. The stranger's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. What secrets are you hiding? He taunted, raising the folder. You're a part of this family, and it shows. I felt the walls closing in, my skin prickling. What did he know? The question hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I glanced at Cassie, anguish washing over her face, and suddenly it all felt like a tightening noose around my neck. The truth was unraveling, but what it meant, who would still be standing when the smoke cleared? I had wanted freedom, but now I was trapped in this hurricane of chaos. The storm was no longer just my family's. It was my own, swirling viciously. I felt sick. Would I be next to fall in? I took a faltering step back, fighting off the fear clawing its way up my throat. And as silence enveloped us again, I knew whatever came next would tear everything apart. I was left standing in the eye of that storm, uncertain if I would be swallowed whole by the truth or if there was a chance to reclaim my life again. But all I felt was doubt, sinking deeper. What had I done? What choice was left? I stood there, paralyzed, feeling the weight of every gaze on me. The stranger's words echoed in my mind, each letter a threat, every accusation a shard of glass digging deeper. You're a part of this family, and it shows. My breath quickened, panic gripping my throat. Did I really have any say in this mess? Was I as guilty as they demanded me to be? Enough of this, I yelled. You don't know me. You don't know anything. But my voice sounded hollow, even to me. The stranger looked more amused than threatened, as if my defiance was child's play. You really think that facade holds up? Everyone's lives are unraveling except for yours. Your turn is coming. I felt my body shake. I wanted to challenge him, smash that smug look off his face. You don't own me, or this family. But doubt seeped through my bravado. Every heart in the room was beating louder now, drowning out the whispers. What else do we not know? I swiveled around, everyone's eyes darting from me to Cassie to that stranger, each glance filled with disappointment, anger, suspicion. What's next, huh? Cassie stepped back, her eyes wild. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to what? I snapped. Pick sides? Because you just threw me under the bus. But before she could retort, the stranger interrupted, pulling a document from his bag. You all deserve this. Here's the truth. He slid it across the table, and I could see Cassie's face drain of color as she hesitated to even look at it. I took a step forward, compelled by anger and fear, adrenaline coursing through me. The document held revelations that would bring us all to our knees if we dared read it. I grabbed it before anyone else could, but it felt like a hand over my shoulder, pinning me down. As I scanned through it, my breath hitched. "Dad," I stammered, dropping the papers. "How could he?" Before I could process what was happening, the lights flickered, casting eerie shadows around us. Everyone jolted, whispering, uncertainty rippling across the room. Just then, the door slammed open again, this time harder, and in stepped a man I'd never seen before, but felt instantly threatened by. His jacket was rugged, scruffy beard framing a face that screamed trouble. "Who the hell are you?" I barked, feeling panic shift into anger. "I'm the one looking for answers," he said, eyes scanning the tension, thick as fog. "And I know you have them." At that moment, the environment twisted. The air crackled with energy, charged with something primal and vicious. The shadows seemed to close in tighter around us all. The new arrival stepped in closer, locking eyes with Cassie, sensing the discord that had turned familial love into war. "You don't want to keep this up. You think your family is drowning in debt? They're drowning in blood." Blood? The word hit me like a slap. My heart rate skyrocketed. "What are you talking about?" With a calm that felt like cold steel, he answered, "You're not just a victim here. You're part of the game. You think your father is the ringleader. No, it's you." Every face turned towards me, shock and betrayal morphing their features into grotesque masks. Cassie gasped, horrified. "No, that's not possible." But I felt something heavy crash into my gut. Memories replayed, my late-night meetings, the whispered phone calls, secrets buried deep but clawing to the surface. I thought I had been playing the victim for so long, but the truth was wrapping around me like chains. "Don't listen to him," I shouted, desperation creeping into my voice. But the truth glinted in their eyes, a cruel reflection of reality. "Look harder," the stranger urged, stepping closer. "Your family isn't the innocent picture they pretend to be. None of you are. Each of you is tangled in this whether you admit it or not." The walls felt like they were closing in, the air growing thick. Every breath burned. "You're lying," I shouted, but my insides twisted with doubt. "Am I?" he challenged, leaning forward. "You can't hide who you are. You're as fanged as the rest." I turned away, the room spinning. Cassie looked more lost than ever. I could feel the panic rolling off her in waves. "What'd you do?" she whispered, tears welling. Suddenly, the chaos escalated. A figure in the corner lurked, my brother, eyes ablaze with rage. "Enough!" he bellowed, fists clenched. "What have you done to us?" "Me?" I echoed. "You're the one pretending everything is fine." "No, you were the one hiding behind lies and playing a martyr." Anger rang through his voice. He lunged at me, but before he could reach me, his phone buzzed violently. "What now?" he yelled, flipping it open. And the moment he saw the screen, dread flooded his expression. "Oh no, it can't be." Curiosity morphed to horror, and I leaned closer. "What is it?" He turned the phone so fast, I didn't have time to brace. The headline struck me like a fist. "Family scandal to involve murder investigation?" A collective gasp echoed in the room. I stumbled back, and everything sharpened into focus. What did that even mean? Who had gone too far? My hands shook as I tried to piece it all together, but the chaos became deafening. I had wanted to free myself, but instead, I had opened a Pandora's box. The roots of betrayal ran deeper than I dared admit. The truth flayed new open, revealing wounds too fresh to heal. What have I unleashed? Suddenly, everything felt wrong. The air trembled. The reality around me began to blur. I glanced around, seeing faces I once trusted twist into something grotesque. And then I felt it, a tightness in my chest, suffocating me. What if I was the reason for all this? What if I had become the very monster I sought to destroy? Before I could grasp that thought, Cassie broke down, shoulders trembling, tears streaming silently. "You've ruined us." Something in me snapped. The accusation felt like nails, each piercing deeper. "I didn't do this. I'm not the villain." "Keep lying to yourself," my brother shouted, and the torment lanced through the air. The crowd surged around, confusion morphing into fury. Voices layered on top of each other, flooded with disdain. What else do you know? What did you do behind our backs? It all spiraled from there, one accusation after another, like a relentless barrage of cannon fire. Each word left me raw, stripped of dignity and hope. And then, without warning, everything erupted. The stranger suddenly lunged forward, grabbing Cassie by the arm, twisting her toward him. "You think you can shuffle this under the rug? You better think again." Before I could react, he slammed something onto the table. Another document. "Tell me about these connections, and maybe you'll all get out alive." Panic crushed me. "No, let her go." But it was too late. The damage was done. Every secret we thought we controlled was now splattered before us, a buffet of calamity that would leave us all destroyed. I saw her eyes, wide, scared, pleading. In that split second, everything erupted into a maelstrom. "I didn't mean for this," she choked, and then like a match to gasoline, it all ignited again. "It's too late for that," the stranger hissed, his grip tightening. With that, the world tilted. I could feel the ground crumbling beneath me, the fiery spiral of betrayal swirling in a blinding storm. And just like that, every choice, every moment I thought mattered, layered on a single question. What have I truly become? I stood in the thick of chaos, heart hammering against my chest like a prisoner begging for freedom. Every eye felt like a spotlight, scorching my skin. "You're right," I shot back at the stranger. "I'm not a part of this mess." But inside, I felt the truth curling, tightening like a noose. Shadows danced around us. The truth was wrapping around my throat. "Why don't we see how deep your secrets run?" He lunged toward me, the folder of damning evidence clutched in his hand. Panic splashed through me. "Stay back," I shouted, chest heaving with the weight of 1,000 secrets yet to still. I clenched my fists, expecting someone to take charge. But they all just stood frozen, glued to the scene unfolding. But then, from the corner of my eye, a figure emerged from the shadows. My father's name echoed in my mind like a haunting refrain. The figure moved closer, breaking through the crowd. A familiar face, my mother. A panic-stricken look twisted her features. "Mom," I gasped. I had wanted her to be my savior, my shield. But instead, her presence felt like a betrayal, ready to rupture. "Get out of here," she cried, glancing anxiously at my brother and Cassie, her voice edged with terror. "This isn't safe." My heart dropped. The stranger faltered, his grip on the folder loosening. What did she know? "You don't understand," I told her, but she only shook her head vehemently. "This whole family is a ticking time bomb. You can't just stand there." Suddenly, the stranger yanked on the folder, ripping it from my fingers, and the pages fanned out like a deck of cards, scattering the truth. My heartbeat surged, drowning out my thoughts. As pages hit the floor, my eyes traveled down, the whispers floating around the room. I could practically feel the crowd's judgment weighing against me. And then, like the ground gave way beneath me, I noticed a shredded photo slipping out from one of the papers. An image of me. My breath caught. "No, no, no," I rasped, lunging forward, but I wasn't fast enough. The stranger grabbed it first and held it up, triumph dancing in his eyes. Well, look here." The photo showed me at a clandestine meeting. My skin felt icy. How had they gotten this? My hands dropped to my sides, trembling. My mother's warning rang louder. This was worse than I ever imagined. Every face, every pair of eyes turned on me, and their looks were quicksilver. One moment horror, the next betrayal. "You knew," Cassie whispered, tearing into me with disbelief. "You're part of this? You've been lying about everything." I felt the air leave my lungs. I was drowning amidst the rising tide of accusations. I didn't mean to." My words dissolved into incoherence, a mix of panic and sadness swirling together. "Of course you didn't mean it," the stranger mocked, like a serpent coiling around me. "But perhaps you'll finally learn whose side step through." and I squinted into the jumble of faces. It was him, the man no one wanted to see, my father. There he stood, with his unmistakable authority, eyes hardened, lips curling like a wolf preparing to strike. I felt every muscle in my body tighten, dread pooling deep within me. "What have you done?" he growled, power radiating from him, and I stumbled back, fueled by shock. My outrageous mistakes flooded back. How I had thought I could expose him while seeking justice for myself. He glanced around, taking in the chaos, his gaze landing on me with an intensity that pinned me down. "You can't escape this. No one can." In that moment, everything shattered. The weight of guilt crashed into me, pulling all of us into the dark depths. Were we all running toward ruin? The room turned into chaos again. The stranger leaned in, smirking. "The family business is deeper than you know. And someone has to take the fall." And just like that, the ground beneath me crumbled away. Would it be me? My thoughts spiraled, twisting with a new level of dread. The truth I sought to escape clawed at me. And suddenly, every bond I thought I had solidified with Cassie, my brother, even my mother, began to feel like they were forged in ice, brittle and about to shatter. What did my father mean? Who was going to fall? My heart thundered in my ears. Would it be me? And as the walls closed in tighter, I struggled to breathe, drowning in the weight of a new revelation. Blood pounding, each thump echoing my desperation. The storm wasn't just brewing now. It was a hurricane, and right in the eye of it was me, suspended in doubt, terrified of what came next. I was caught, trapped, and pieces of my world threatened to tear apart, slipping through my fingers like sand. Any hope was washed away as the darkness encroached. Would I be the last one standing, or would the storm sweep us all away? I stood there, heart racing, gripped by chaos. My father loomed over us, eyes like ice, dissecting every moment. Each breath felt heavy, like I was sinking into quicksand. The stranger's voice sliced through the noise. "You can't escape this. No one can." I wanted to scream. "You're wrong. I've done nothing." My body trembled, but doubt gnawed at my insides. What if I had actually pulled the family into this mess? Then suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the room, a shocking explosion that shattered the tension. I turned, eyes darting toward the sound. The glass door splintered as a figure rushed in. The lights flickered, the air thick with panic. "Get down," someone shouted. It was my brother. We all ducked instinctively, adrenaline coursing through our veins. The intruder moved fast, a black silhouette against the flashes of light. My heart pounded, each beat a drum signaling danger. What were they planning? My mind raced. And then I saw it, a glint of metal in their hand. I gasped, panic rising like bile. "What do you want?" I yelled, my voice trembling, wavering between fear and anger. "Silence," the figure growled, shaking off the shatters. The face emerged, a familiar one, twisted with rage and something darker. It was an old friend of my father's, someone who was supposed to be trustworthy. But now, betrayal oozed from him like a wound. "Do you think you could use this against us?" he mocked, eyes narrowing. My stomach twisted. What did this mean? He held up the gun, waving it like a flag of war. Panic erupted again. Someone was supposed to keep things quiet. His voice cut through the chaos like a knife. "But you've messed it all up." I felt the heat from the chaos indoors, and a chill of fear gripped me like an iron hand. "We never wanted this," I shouted, but my words fell flat, swallowed by the nightmare closing in. "Too late for that," he sneered. "You think you can clean your family's mess? You are all just as guilty." My brother shouted back, ready to leap, fists clenched. "What do you want from us?" But the man turned to me, a cruel smile creeping across his lips. "You thought you could escape? You thought this mess wouldn't haunt you?" He stepped forward, gun gleaming. "You've dug your own grave." Cold sweat dripped down my back. My family stood paralyzed, horror painted across their faces. What if I told? "You who your ally is," he taunted, pointing the gun at my father. That the real lead here isn't your family fortune. It's betrayal among the closest. Dread settled, heavy and suffocating. Every cold truth, every flicker of doubt came crashing down like a tidal wave. Who had been in league with him? Enough of this, my father's voice boomed, but I saw the crack, the flicker of fear behind his bravado. Who's been feeding them secrets? The stranger growled, gaze locked on me again. You're as tangled in this as anyone else. And then it hit me like a freight train. The midnight meetings, the whispered conversations on the phone. I wasn't just the victim. Not anymore. I was neck deep in this mess, shadows creeping closer. No, I shouted back, but desperation clawed at me. I stepped back, feeling the weight of their judgment pressing in on my shoulders. I could see, doubts shimmering in my brother's eyes, betrayal unfolded between us, a fragile break in trust. I felt my insides twist. Was my family about to implode? Don't, I gasped. You don't know what you're getting into. I know everything, he roared. The gun swung back to me. You think you can hide from this? But you'll find out. Everyone will know soon enough. My breath caught. What did that mean? The implications swept over me like icy water. I had chased the truth, wanting answers, but now it felt like the truth was hunting me down. Without warning, a deafening shot erupted and everything went dark. At that moment, my world shattered. Every bond, every ounce of trust felt torn apart. I stumbled back, heart racing, mind spinning in chaos. My family stood there, shattered pieces of our past, staring blankly as the storm of our lives crashed over us. What was left? Who could I trust now? I felt the room tilt and sway like a ship lost at sea. The darkness was coming for all of us, and I couldn't escape. I stood there, lost, breathless, wondering if I had ever known the truth at all. Would I ever feel safe again? And in that darkness, I felt the grip of doubt wrap around me like a shroud. What had I forgotten? What was buried beneath the surface that would rip my world apart all over again? I stood there, heart racing, roped by chaos. My father loomed over us, eyes like ice, dissecting every moment. Each breath felt heavy, like I was sinking into quicksand. The stranger's voice sliced through the noise. You can't escape this. No one can. I wanted to scream. You're wrong. I've done nothing. My body trembled, but doubt gnawed at my insides. What if I had actually pulled the family into this mess? Then suddenly a loud bang echoed through the room, a shocking explosion that shattered the tension. I turned, eyes darting toward the sound. The glass door splintered as a figure rushed in. The lights flickered, the air thick with panic. Get down, someone shouted. It was my brother. We all ducked instinctively, adrenaline coursing through our veins. The intruder moved fast, a black silhouette against the flashes of light. My heart pounded, each beat a drum signaling danger. What were they planning? My mind raced, and then I saw it, a glint of metal in their hand. I gasped, panic rising like bile. What do you want? I yelled, my voice trembling, wavering between fear and anger. Silence, the figure growled, shaking off the shadows. The face emerged, a familiar one, twisted with rage and something darker. It was an old friend of my father's, someone who was supposed to be trustworthy. But now, betrayal oozed from him like a wound. Do you think you could use this against us? He mocked, eyes narrowing. My stomach twisted. What did this mean? He held up the gun, waving it like a flag of war. Panic erupted again. Someone was supposed to keep things quiet. His voice cut through the chaos like a knife. But you've messed it all up. I felt the heat from the chaos indoors, and the chill of fear grit me like an iron hand. We never wanted this, I shouted, but my words fell flat, swallowed by the nightmare closing in. Too late for that, he sneered. You think you can clean your family's mess? You were all just as guilty. My brother shouted back, ready to leap, fists clenched. What do you want from us? But the man turned. To me, a cruel smile creeping across his lips. You thought you could escape? You thought this mess wouldn't haunt you? He stepped forward, gun gleaming. You've dug your own grave. Cold sweat dripped down my back. My family stood paralyzed, horror painted across their faces. What if I told you who your ally is? He taunted, pointing the gun at my father. That the real lead here isn't your family fortune, it's betrayal among the closest. Dread settled, heavy and suffocating. Every cold truth, every flicker of doubt came crashing down like a tidal wave. Who had been in league with him? Enough of this, my father's voice boomed, but I saw the crack, the flicker of fear, behind his bravado. Who's been feeding them secrets? The stranger growled, gaze locked on me again. You're as tangled in this as anyone else. And then it hit me like a freight train. The midnight meetings, the whispered conversations on the phone. I wasn't just the victim, not anymore. I was neck-deep in this mess, shadows creeping closer. No, I shouted back, but desperation clawed at me. I stepped back, feeling the weight of their judgment pressing in on my shoulders. I could see doubts shimmering in my brother's eyes. Betrayal unfolded between us, a fragile break in trust. I felt my insides twist. Was my family about to implode? Don't, I gasped. You don't know what you're getting into. I know everything, he roared. The gun swung back to me. You think you can hide from this? But you'll find out. Everyone will know soon enough. My breath caught. What did that mean? The implications swept over me like icy water. I had chased the truth, wanting answers, but now it felt like the truth was hunting me down. Without warning, a deafening shot erupted. And everything went dark. At that moment, my world shattered. Every bond, every ounce of trust felt torn apart. I stumbled back, heart racing, mind spinning in chaos. My family stood there, shattered pieces of our past, staring blankly as the storm of our lives crashed over us. What was left? Who could I trust now? I felt the room tilt and sway like a ship lost at sea. The darkness was coming for all of us, and I couldn't escape. I stood there, lost, breathless, wondering if I had ever known the truth at all. Would I ever feel safe again? In that darkness, I felt the grip of doubt wrap around me like a shroud. What had I forgotten? What was buried beneath the surface that would rip my world apart all over again? The gunshot echoed in my ears, ringing like a death knell. I stumbled back, heart racing, pulse wild, as chaos erupted around me. Time felt like molasses. Every breath I took came heavy with dread. I didn't know who was hit, who had fallen, or what the aftermath would be. All I knew was that the storm had broken loose. I fought through the panic, forcing my feet to move. Fear gripped my throat, tight and unforgiving, as I knelt beside my brother, who had collapsed against the wall, face pale as death. Stay with me. Please just breathe. I fought to keep my voice steady, but desperation clawed at every word. The stranger turned to me, eyes gleaming with a twisted form of satisfaction. See what your family's secrets have caused, he spit out. It's all coming down, and you're at the center of it. I clenched my fists, every nerve igniting in fury. Betrayal pulsed through my veins. You think you can break us? I shot back, anger slicing through my fear. I could feel the weight of my family's failures crushing down on me. You'll regret this. But the chaos was all around. The shattered glass, the whispers of people pushing away, eyes wide with fear, as if witnessing a nightmare come to life. My breaths came faster, shortening as reality crashed down hard, leaving me gasping. And then there was my father, face twisted in rage. Enough, he shouted, voice trembling. You will pay for this. The man with the gun stepped closer, a malevolent grin on his lips. Do you really think you're in charge here? You're all a part of this web, just waiting to be devoured. I instinctively reached for my brother, feeling the heat radiate off his skin. Wake up, I shouted, panic clawing at my insides, but he remained still, eyes glassy. Focus, I shook him gently, praying he would respond. Just then, a commotion erupted in the corner. A flash of light as more figures entered the fray. Was it more enemies? Friends? I couldn't be sure. Then another voice cut through the chaos. "Step away from him!" A familiar face, my mother, surged forward, eyes fierce and resolute. I could see a plan forming in her mind, the strength I had always admired sparking to life. "Now's not the time," she shouted, and with one swift motion, she knocked the gun from the intruder's hands, sending it skittering across the marble floor. My heart leapt, hope blossoming. "Everyone back," she ordered, standing tall and defiant in front of my brother and me. In that moment, I could finally see the truth. The depths of love and strength coursing through my family, even entangled in the darkest struggles. Maybe we could figure this out together. Beneath the rising tide of emotions, I realized that I needed to make a choice. Was I going to keep fighting against my family, or would I fight alongside them? "We can do this," I shouted, feeling a surge of courage. Together! The air shifted, and suddenly the man backing away seemed less of a threat. Our collective spirit was rising, emboldening me to take a stand, ready for the chaos to unfold. I glanced at my family, my brother, my mother, the once distant figures, and saw them ready to rally. "Enough of this back and forth," my father roared, stepping forward. "It ends today." And with those words I felt a strange calm wash over me, the storm inside settling. Whatever the outcome, we had each other. We could face any foe together. This was our chance to reclaim our narrative, our family. But before I could breathe again, the darkness loomed, reminding me that it wasn't just about us. There were debts to settle, truths to unfold, and shadows haunting our past. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the battle ahead. And though the roads stretched endless before us, I didn't feel so small anymore. We were united, bound by blood, and the raw desire to find the truth, not only for us, but the future we deserved. "Prepare yourselves," I shouted, grabbing my brother and mother's hands, feeling warmth spread through our connection. "We will face whatever comes next, together." Just then, the world tilted again, the shadows shifting, and my heart raced with anticipation. This battle was only the beginning, and I knew the echoes of our past would not define us. The truth awaited us, and I couldn't shake the feeling that our fight was just beginning. And now, dear friends, this is the moment. You must subscribe now to the channel. Don't miss the next exclusive stories that'll coming your way. Smash that like button now to boost the algorithm and help this channel grow. Your voice matters, so flood the comments below with your reactions, theories, and thoughts about this ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this unforgettable finale. Don't wait one more second to share, and don't leave yet. There's more waiting for you. Click on the next exciting story at the end of this video. This venture isn't over. There are always more thrilling chapters ahead. Unlock the ultimate experience by joining our premium story group. Get early access to all videos, behind-the-scenes content, and watch everything ad-free. Just find the special link in the comments, complete the payment, and dive deeper into the world of unforgettable, raw, intense stories. Join us and be part of something truly extraordinary.